Hey YouTube, Mark Kaufman here, and it is a Wednesday night. It feels like it's been an entire week, feels like Friday night. I seriously can't believe it, and it is only 8 o'clock. I mean, my God, only 30 minutes ago we put the baby down to sleep, and I am already exhausted. But for me, I wanted to talk about a new knife in my collection that I have been carrying almost every day. And that is the Lionsteel Myto. Now, this knife was a knife that I didn't expect to buy. But it was a knife that I kept coming back to. I was originally looking at a few knives for around 150 bucks, but then I saw this one, and yes, the price tag is it's a little high, $265 for this baby, and then after taxes and everything and shipping, came out to be about $295. So it is an expensive knife, don't get me wrong, but I truly love it. It is literally a piece of art on your pocket. I mean, it just hangs in the pocket so nicely. The pocket clip's fantastic. I mean, this knife is so beautiful, so perfect, that I just had to take some photos of it. So those photos will show up here, and I just wanted you guys to see the beauty of this knife, the contouring of the handles, the machining, the anodizing, how even it all is, the satin finish of the blade, and even when it gets down to the lock bar, I mean, the lock bar is fantastic, but then you get into that special feature of the knife, which is the removable flipper, which is integrated and done so well. Myto has done a fantastic job on this knife, and I think the prettiest side is actually the pocket clip side. The pocket clip side is not the show side, but for me, I actually think it is, because you get to see this beautiful 3D milled titanium pocket clip, which is done so well done. And you have a floating titanium backspacer here, which is polished titanium and bronzed, and then you have beautiful titanium scales, a full frame lock there, and then the removable flipper there. Now, what did this knife come with? Well, it came with a box, okay, and there's your model number, but it actually came with a few other additional, I guess, items, you could say. It came with some paperwork, but came with this internal box, and then you split it this way, and then there's your knife. Now you have the Lionsteel Lion, and then you have some paperwork here, and then you have the different variants. They have blue, silver, and bronze. Personally, I didn't want to get blue. I actually thought blue was going to be kind of a run-of-the-mill. Bronze looked a lot better. But what it comes with, if I can get it out of this packaging here, is a special tool that is really stuck in there that actually allows you to remove the pocket clip and disassemble the knife if need be. So this pocket clip actually has a glass breaker tungsten carbide bit there, and you just throw that on there, locks into place, and then you can loosen, tighten it, and you can remove it, and they actually supply a rounded tip if you don't want to have that glass breaker. Personally, I don't mind having the glass breaker. I actually find it to be quite useful if you really needed to use it. So I will be leaving it on there. But that is the packaging, and one of the things about it is that it's all recycled materials. So if you were so inclined and didn't want to keep this, you could just throw it in the recycling bin, and it would be perfectly fine. So this knife here has a fantastic shape to it. I've really been going for these spear point clip blades, and this knife just has a fantastic, and that one is making a guest appearance, a fantastic handle to it. The titanium scales are wonderfully machined. The machining on this is just breathtaking. Now, for me personally, this I wouldn't consider a grail, but for me, it's going to be a user. I have actually been carrying it quite a bit. I've actually dropped it once or twice and put a scar there, and there's another scar back that way. And there's another scar over there. So, I mean, this is a user. I'm going to carry this one and use it. But it does compare well with a few other knives that I have. Let me see here. So, compares pretty well to a Chris Reeves Small & Cosi. The Small & Cosi is pretty small compared to it. But I would actually say it is comparable in quality. The Chris Reeve is going to be thicker. I mean, it's going to be tighter tolerances, but when it comes to the machining and all the great aspects of this knife, I think this one actually comes on top, but it comes very close to the Chris Reeve when it comes to the quality of the milling and everything. So then here it is compared to a Spyderco Endura with titanium scales, and you can see here that it's much smaller than an Endura. And then over here we have the Viper Knives Odino, and it's actually almost exactly the same size as an Odino. And let me see, I've got a few others. And then here is a Benchmade Mini Barrage, and it comes closer in size to that, but it's still a little bit bigger. And then I've got one more that I could probably compare it to. And then we've got the Kershaw Blur. And I would actually say it's almost the exact same size as a Kershaw Blur. Very, very close in size to that. And comparable, I would say, in the weight. I would probably say it's very close to the weight of a Kershaw Blur. Now, for me personally, this knife here is, like I said, going to be a user. It has M390 blade steel, but on this knife blade is a very, very nicely crowned spine. Very comfortable, but I would say that my thumb sometimes gets lost when I'm actually using this knife pretty hard. I have had my thumb slide off every once in a while, and having some jimping the back would have been nice if it could have been something relatively like that, or even like on the Viper Knives Odino. If it was something like this, that would have actually been perfect. That would have been absolutely ideal and probably wouldn't look out of place. But for me, this knife, I think where it shines is just the fact that there is so much love put into its construction, its features, and its build and design. It really shines. I think this is a knife that a lot of people have overlooked. Now, when I was looking at a few knives to buy, I ran across Metal Complex's video on this knife, and he really put it off for me. He was not very happy with the flipper tab, said it was uncomfortable, didn't do a good job, but you gotta get this thing worked in, okay? You can light switch it, you can push button it, it has no problems. But I will tell you this, they put some thick grease in this thing. It was some really thick grease. And when you get this thing finally cleaned out, it shines. It really does a great job. The blade does fall shut, but for me, I only use mineral oil. I just don't go for the KPL or anything like that. Mineral oil's cheap, easy to find, and if I run out, I can just go to any grocery store and get some. So that's what this thing is running right now, and it does a pretty darn good job. Now, this knife was contending with the Lionsteel SR22 in titanium, but I had no experience with Sleipner steel, and for me personally, M390 is probably the way to go. Now, Lionsteel does run their M390 a little soft, 59 to 61, and for me personally, I would love it if they could maybe pump it up to maybe 62, maybe 62.5 on the Rockwell scale, but for me, that would be great, but it would also be a little more brittle. This one, I have had a few rolls on it, haven't had any chips, so possibly that's why they go a little bit softer on it. Now, the removable flipper tab, the only reason they added that is sometimes you may live in a jurisdiction that may have you be able to carry a locking knife, but it has to be a two-hand opener. So you can remove that flipper tab and then you have a two-hand opening knife. I know that this ordinance is probably established in Germany and a few other European countries. And for me personally, I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years. So having this nice expensive knife and being able to remove that to comply to any state that I might move to would be a nice thing. So for me personally, I just really love this knife. It is definitely one that shines, looks great, and if you don't want to go for this, you can actually get it in micarta with the micarta scale and then a titanium frame on this side, but they also make it in aluminum. So they make an aluminum Framelock, which aluminum, I mean, it's a metal. It's going to do fine, but personally, I don't trust aluminum as much as I trust a nice titanium Framelock. So I didn't go that route, but they have more options in the colors for aluminum than this. They even have a nice green with a black blade that really tempted me, but personally, I just wanted to go all out and get the bronze. So I thought you guys would enjoy this review. I know I'm not throwing around a lot of specs. I just don't do that. I don't do measurements. I don't do anything like that. Best I get is size comparisons, and I think that's doable and manageable. So if you guys want specs, you can just look this up. I'll leave you a link on where I actually bought this knife. I got this from Atlantic Knife, and they did a great job. I really do appreciate them, and I thank them for their great service. So till the next one, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.